having breakfast, he says, I'm intimidated by you. And the last thing I want to do is force him to grow up. Oh my gosh, I've been with older men and that's all they ever want is you to hurt.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Talking to you guys about this question. Why is my partner, or my man to be specific, intimidated by me? Why is my partner, my man, intimidated by me in 2023, baby? What, men can't stand the fact that women are educated and you know, are making their own bills and making their own money and, you know, being independent bosses. And these men are just, you know, they're not cutting it. You know, they're just shook and they're scared. No. No. Shh. Listen, let's have a real conversation now. All jokes aside, there are men that are going to be intimidated. Let's keep it a buck. They're insecure men, right? And I won't play with that. There are some men that are intimidated, and a lot of men out here too won't admit they are intimidated by something. That's for me. I'll tell you the truth. I'm intimidated. But a lot of men don't want to admit they're intimidated because again, it's an area of vulnerability. Again, to admit you're afraid of something is a weakness. So if you can't be open and be vulnerable with yourself, you're never going to admit that you're intimidated by something. But I think in this case, what she describes here, I want to draw it out, right? She said that she was intimidated, that, you know, that her man said he was intimidated by her. And actually, in the course of the video, he actually explains what his intimidation with her was. And here's what his explanation for why he was intimidated. Because she knows more than him, and she's older than him, and she uses it against him. Let's just pause it there. If you're new to the channel, like it, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification to what? Uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. You better stay hydrated. All right, let's get into the video. Let's not play no games. Now, our brother just said, obviously, he felt intimidated because she was more knowledgeable, she was older, okay, and the reality of the situation was, okay, she was trying to tell him how to be a man, right? So he became intimidated by her. So a lot of this intimidation comes from a place of the fact that, number one, he himself is not rooted in security and understanding what his manhood is. We did that in part 1 of this video. And so when you don't understand what your manhood is in full, when you have not been validated by other men who you consider to be elder gentlemen or mature folk or men you respect, then what will happen is your manhood will be in question because he was raised by a single mother. And so when she begins to question your manhood, you don't have nothing to stand on solidly, right? Because you haven't been taught so. You haven't been given the instruction of being, you know, a man in that sense, right? And so that's really quintessential. It's important, right, to have that foundation, because the intimidation is coming from the fact that you feel that you're not enough in the situation, that they are now bigger and better than you are. It's very similar to Israel in Numbers, where they went to go and spy on the land. And they said, we saw giants and we looked like little grasshoppers caught towards them. They were intimidated, right? Because they saw themselves as small. And until he sees himself as a man, she won't see him as a man. Now, this is not giving her credence to get off the hook. We're just saying that the intimidation that he was feeling in that moment is because he's not solid and solidified in his own manhood to be able to say, sis, my manhood is secure, bruv. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a man. You understand? So either you're going to respect me or we're going to have to leave this alone, which he has been kind of saying, but he can't stand on it too tough because, again, he doesn't have that foundation to stand upon. Now, what's really important is the reason why also, too, she is intimidating. She's intimidated because she's knowledgeable. She's older than him. She probably tells him how to do it. And also this relationship was established through power dynamics. Let's not lie about that. You know, if it was a woman and a man, they'll be talking about it for ages. But I mean, if it's a man and a woman, they'll be talking about it for ages. But because the woman, no one's really talked about it. They have a power dynamic, and he's been trying to reverse engineer the power dynamic, which is he was an assistant to her. Okay, he's 23 and she's almost 30, I think. So there is at least 5 to 6 to 7 years gap potentially. And that also is a big thing. And because of her distrust for men, she has a control in the relationship, because as she said herself, as she's about to say herself, let me bring it to you so you can listen to it and you'll understand where I'm coming from.
Ever want is you to hurry up and grow. Have I turned into those men that I hated so much?
Because that's what you're used to. You get what I'm saying? So because it's a pattern.
She spoke about turning into those men that always asked her to grow up quicker than she needed to grow up, right? And she's doing the exact same thing to him. So she's been impressing her idea and her picture in her head of what she expects from him and supplanting the pressure on his head, right? Now, because he wants to make it work, of course, the intimidation is setting in, but it's also causing him to drift away from the relationship. He ain't coming home till 3 o'clock in the morning. He don't want to spend time with her. He wants to spend time with the boys. There's a reason being, because whenever he spends time with her, it's chaotic. Now, what's really important, okay, about their situation, okay, is that first and foremost, he does his part, but on her part, she needs to stop trying to control. See, her control to try and intimidate him, and it is a thing. She tries to intimidate him in the sense of tries to squash him down. Like, I've got rank here because I'm older, I'm more knowledgeable. You know what I mean? You don't know much. You're 23. You're 22. Too much to handle. Hey, you know what I mean? Shout out to J.O. But you know, so in reality, what you're seeing is that she uses her age, her experience as a ranking. And, you know, and she uses it to usurp and say, hey, well, you know what? I know best. So we're going to follow my lead. So she's usurping the leadership through her fear of being controlled and her fear of being in that place that she was before, where a man had say over her life because he was a man and because he was older. And so her fear of being controlled is actually now what's running as a subconscious program behind the scenes. And she's replicating the same thing to old boy. So now he feels intimidated, right? And the definition of intimidated, because I know a lot of men don't like that word, you know, like, I'm not intimidated by no woman, you know what I mean? You can't give me that lit. Intimidation just means frightening, overawing, or threatening effect, right? I think the last two are definitely important, overawing and threatening effect. And I think that does play some part in aspect. And what is a threatening effect? What is the threat here? Well, the threat here is to his emotional safety. The disrespect that he's receiving, you know, the shouting, the screaming, you know, it's as a form of trying to get him to cartel to her way of thinking and doing things. And what's interesting is once someone feels intimidated, they start to lose courage and self-confidence. We saw that in him. Look at the way he's talking. You will see that the courage is lost in him, right? And you feel producing feelings of fear or timidity, and that's what he's got. Timidity right now, okay, is what we're seeing from him, right? The timidity, and so you see it in the way he even talks and stuff like that. And the reason being is because, again, the father figure wasn't present in his life. So having those good, strong boundaries and being able to assert them correctly in a manner that is balanced and it's not that's not doing too much and it's not a threat, it's very difficult. And so he's a person that's more timid, and she sees that and has taken over and has usurped leadership. And so she intimidates him through her knowledge because she knows that that will get him to submit. And when he submits, she still has the control and still has the power, and she still now feels safe. Like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of uploads. We appreciate you guys. Lots of loaded. You know what it is, baby. Appreciate you.